Welcome everybody to GPS Tracking Academy with US Fleet Tracking. My name is Sam Sims. Mark has the day off, and this is Jordan Knutson. Welcome. So we are in Simple Search. So simply go to the system, click search, and go. No, I'm kidding. There's a lot more to it. We're going to go through that. This one won't be terribly long, so don't feel like you're going to be stuck behind your computer for a little while. But just to get things started, you are watching us live. Through a live video feed. You can scale this video feed up to full-size screen if you'd like. When you do that, you'll cover up our chat feature, which is on the left-hand side. Feel free to chat any question that you might have with us, and our production team will get them to us very quickly here on set so that we can answer those questions while we're live. Don't forget about our Twitter and Facebook page. It's usfleettracking.com, so it's twitter.com. I'm sorry, I went too far with that. So it's twitter.com/usfleettracking.
Right.
And then it's facebook.com/usfleettracking.
Perfect.
And then I'm really throwing a loop to the guys in the back right now. So they've just put the social media stuff up, and I'm getting ready to change it on them and go to the tech support stuff. So our tech support is here Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time, and the telephone number for that is, I'm sorry, before I move on, they're also here on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the telephone number is 405-726-9900. You can see that on your screen now. Our guys are here and gals are here to speak with you at any time concerning our system for whatever portion you might have a question about, so feel free to give us a shout. You can always follow these if for some reason you've missed them or you want to go back and watch one of these training sessions again. Just visit our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/usfleettracking. We try to make things easier for you. Just put the /USFleetTracking, you're likely going to get us. So let's move into the simple search feature, or our search feature, which we're calling Simply Search.
Right.
And there's a lot more behind that besides what you may have known in the past. So right now, what Jordan's doing is logging into our system. For those who don't know, go to usfleettracking.com and click the tracking login button.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice right away, whenever you go to the Search Anything bar, is that you can literally search anything in the system, which is wonderful. So, for example, if you put test in there, I know for sure that one of our devices is labeled test device. So the great thing about this is if I do that, it'll bring up test and test device, and it'll load up their addresses. Now, you'll see right away that these vehicle icons indicate that the device is right there. So the great thing about this is a nice way to identify, okay, this is a device.
Okay.
Once you have that information, you can then click on something from there, and it'll immediately take you to that device. And then you can get all the information that you would want from that device. And it leaves up your search results so that if you needed to go to a different device, it would actually just click away, and you can go right to that next device.
Oh, gotcha.
So this can be very helpful if you have lots of devices under similar names and you just kind of quickly find them and you don't want to try to scan through on your screen. It's an easy way to do this. Excuse me. And also you can try a couple of other different things. If you put device, then test device will come up. So you don't have to put the first part of the name. You can put any part of the name. So if the vehicle name was, for example, Stan Lee, then you could put in the word Lee and it would bring up that device. Or you could put in the word Stan. So the great thing about this system is it's catching the information that you're giving it and it'll populate based on that.
Do we need to put in wildcards, like maybe an asterisk or anything around that? Or?
No. The great thing about it is you can literally just put in, like for example here with this one, I just put in the word device and I hit enter. And it knew that I had a test device named test device 1. So you don't, it's not like it's case sensitive. It's not like it's any of that stuff. Like you don't have to be exact, which is great because I forget stuff all the time. So I'm like, was it test device? Was it test drive? Like, what was the name of that?
I'm right there with you. I'm in the same boat.
So if I just type in test, then again, I can get that result very quickly. So another thing that this can be used for, outside of just locating devices and figuring out where they are quickly on the tool, is obviously you can use this as a resource. We talked about on the last show briefly, was for if you need to have tire repairs or if you need to have maintenance or anything like that. It actually goes much, much further than that. So something that you'll need to do in the system is you'll want to be zoomed in relatively close to your devices. You don't have to obviously be on top of them or anything like that, but if you back up a little ways here and you were to try something like
Why do we have to be zoomed in close?
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. If you're zoomed in really close, then it's going to populate data in that area. It's going to try to get you as much information as close to your devices. So if you back out a little ways, about right, here or so, it's going to populate a larger area. So it's giving you more options.
So if we backed all the way out to show maybe state level or country level, that's probably going to be too far.
Exactly.
And too much data.
Right,
Gotcha.
right. So if you go too far out, then you're going to get too much data. If you're too close in, you're not going to give yourself a wide enough view range to get as much as you can.
Gotcha.
The great thing about this is if you needed to get repairs done for your vehicle, if you type in the word repair, it brings up a ton of different options. So now you've got like different car dealerships, or you've got cellular repair. It's going to populate based off of just the search term repair. So again, you don't have to be super specific in that sense. Now, if you wanted something a little bit more specific, you could try like tire. And then it'll load up different tire shops and things like that, which is great because, again, all you have to do is go down here, delete what you put, type in the new thing, hit enter, and it pops right up. You don't have to worry about getting rid of old data or anything like that. It's very quick, very easy to use. Once you've put in your search parameters, so we'll say tire for this instance, you'll see that it populates the screen with all these little green dots. I'll even remove that so you can kind of see a little bit better. Now, what these green dots are their locations that might be what you're looking for. So if you hover over one, for example, and you go ahead and click on that, that's Richard's Car Care. So the great thing about the system is we've used color coding to kind of help with this search feature as well. So green bubbles indicate that the place that you're looking at is open. So they're available for business. So you know right away, I don't need to worry about if they're open or closed or anything like that. If it's red, it will indicate that it's closed. And if it's yellow, it will indicate that it's closing soon, so within the hour.
Okay.
So that's a nice color way to immediately recognize, hey, you guys need to go ahead and, like if you see something like that and it goes yellow, you can tell your drivers, go ahead and go to that location now, it's going to be closing soon.
Gotcha.
That way you can definitely avoid any wasted time or fuel or anything like that. Now the other great thing about it, when you click on something, it brings up the name and it brings up their website. The wonderful thing about that is it's a link right to the website. So you can just click on it from ours and it'll pop up a window and bring you and take you right to their website. It also has their full address and their phone number. Now, this is all information that's populated through Google. So sometimes they maybe don't list their phone number with that company. We'll still have the company and we'll still have their address, their website, whatever information they provide, but you may not always have a phone number, so that's sometimes happen, not very often. And then occasionally you'll see a gray bubble. And the gray bubble means that we don't necessarily have data. Like example is right here. Here's a gray bubble right here. And what the gray means is they don't know the hours. So they don't know, the system itself doesn't know if it's about to close, if it's closed, if it's open. They don't know. So, but the great thing about this is they do provide their phone number. So this particular one, which has a gray bubble, you can actually call them and say, hey, just checking, make sure you guys are open.
I'm about to send somebody.
I'm about to send somebody your way. Exactly. Right. So this is a great thing that you can use in the system. And if you see when I back up here, it populated pretty much around that area. So when I was zoomed in at about that level, that was kind of where it populated. Now, if I had backed out a little bit further like this, then you might just find yourself getting more information. So now if you back up like I did, now it's provided more options. Now, another great feature, and I'm going to zoom in here and try to repopulate this, see if I can get it done just right. So if I do this again, we're going to do tire again. Now what I'm doing is, if you notice, when I go over these, like when I'm over these two right here, the blue bubble, or the green bubble right there, is becoming blue. So as you're scrolling over these, it will change the color of them, which will indicate which one you're looking at, which can be great and very helpful if you're like, okay, well, which one is this? Oh, they're turning blue, so I know which one's closest to my guy. I know which one I need to be looking for.
Or you know a basic location of one, forgot the name of it, forgot the address. And
exactly. I sent my guys to this one up here, and then, you know, it's just another way of using the system to make it easier on the person who's in charge of dispatch or working with it or whatever they need to do.
Right. And we can click on those too, right there on that list, and get that same information as if we were clicking on the bubble.
Correct. So if you click on that, what it'll do is exactly what you're saying. And even sometimes, if they're rated with Google, it'll actually even provide a rating for you. So you can even see their customer service rating. This can be a great help for lots of different features, because if you know a repair shop and you're like, okay, we just need to get a repair shop on the fly. You bring it up and they maybe have a questionable rating. That information is right here, so you don't even have to waste your time.
Right.
So that can be extremely helpful. Another thing that this can help through is services. Like I was saying on the show last hour, sometimes you might have contracts with certain people. And well, the great thing about it is you can be more specific. So I put in just the word repair and I got those options. Well, if I change it up a little bit, again, you can populate this information with as specific of information as you need. So we're going to type in the word Midas, for example, and it's going to bring up 2 dots for me exactly. So if you need to find a specific shop that you know your company maybe has a partnership with and you're trying to tell your guys, look, it's right there. If you go into the search anything feature, you can type in those words and it will immediately populate with those exact search results.
Great. Okay, so now I've got a question. So what if our search, and in our system, this is kind of on the fly because we're live. I'm going to ask him a question. I'm not sure what's going to be our result. So if I were to have named one of my devices Midas,
okay,
what would happen?
If you were to name a device...
And I wanted to find a Midas store.
Sure. That's what's great about the system. So let's say, in fact, let's just go ahead and do that. And I'll show you what it'll do. It'll just take me just a second, since we're operating on the fly. I'm going to rename this device Midas. Now, what it should do, what I believe it will do, fingers crossed, is what it'll do when it populates is it will provide you with Midas the stores and Midas the devices, except they'll have different icons in the search field. So now we're going to try it. And I was right.
Gotcha.
So if it's a location or a store, it'll say web, and then it'll have the semicolon, and then you'll have the options. So Midas, Midas Auto Experts. If it's a device, it will show the vehicle icon, and then say the word device, and then have Midas.
Right.
And the great thing about the system is I made that change on the fly, and I was still able to pull it up right there. So it's not like we had to wait 5 minutes or log off the system and log back in. It was all something you could access very quickly.
Right, and it looks like the devices are popping up first before it goes to the web.
Correct. So there's probably a sequence in there where it'll tell it device, then web.
Right. If it's inside of a system, show that first. If it's on the web, show that second.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then again, once you do, you can grab that. When you grab a device, it'll zoom in closer to that device for you. And then you can get back to your options. So it's very, like I said, very user-friendly, very easy to mess with. And the great thing about the search feature that we've figured out so far is we've had a really hard time finding anything that's not working well. Like if we put in tire, that's obviously an extremely general term for what we're looking at. You know, we put in the word oil, and we were getting oil changes, oil, you know, where do you want to buy oil? Where do, I mean, we were getting all kinds of listings. So again, you can be as specific or as, you know, non-specific as it were, depending on your needs.
Try shopping. That's a very, very general term.
Okay.
Let's see what pops up with shopping. This ought to be interesting.
Oh dear. All right, so for shopping, wow.
It just keeps kind of going. Oh,
Yeah.
It's still loading. Okay.
So if you put in something like shopping, you're going to get, oh wow, you're going to get specific stores, you're going to get outlet malls, you'll get full malls, you'll get all kinds of different options.
Anything that has determined itself,
As
again, our data is
shopping.
coming through Google, so
Right.
if it says shopping on there, or Google determines that it's shopping, it's going to start popping up.
Now you've got me, I'm going to test one more thing.
Food.
Oh, here's a great example. These are the red bubbles I was talking about.
All
So
right.
these are some places that are closed. The great thing about that is, again, if you're about to go to lunch or if you're about to go to a store or whatever you're going to do, it's nice to be able to know visually, okay, that place is closed. There's no point in even driving out there.
Right. Well, and a lot of times that our clients they're sitting in locations of the city that they're very familiar with, and then other parts of the city they're not so familiar with. So,
Sure.
So having these on the fly for your mobile employees are out there, it's just much easier to be able to direct them quickly with a simple phone call. They keep their eyes on the road and off their phone. You might have a policy in place where you have your drivers pull over and look up that information, but this is another step that could help you out and maybe speed things up for you a little bit.
Absolutely.
Especially for those ones who are across the continent and the country itself. This is extremely helpful for when you're trying to find assistance for somebody out in the area that just doesn't know the area, and you may not know the area either. So.
And another way to use this in conjunction with something else already in the system, which we love to do because anytime we can give an example of that, it's great. If I pull up this data right here and I know, okay, this is what I need to go to, you can then copy this website information, or you could highlight and copy this address. and then you can send that to the driver, kind of like we talked about in the previous show. When you go to dispatch, you can send contacts messages now. So if you find that information and you have it all right there, it allows your dispatch person to utilize all of the information right in front of them.
So they could literally text
exactly
to that driver, here's the address of the hotel you're supposed to stay at tonight.
Exactly. So it's an easy way to get information to them on the fly, and you could even send them a quick message that just says, Midas on Rockwell. And that way they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing, where they're supposed to be going. And you can even put the phone number in there. You're shooting them as up to 140 characters of a message right away that you want to send them.
Great. All righty. Anything else?
I think we've pretty well covered that. We went over, again, the green bubbles mean that it's open. Mm-hmm. Your red means it's closed. Yellow is closing soon. Gray means that we don't have our information. There's still information in the system about it, but we don't necessarily have their hours. And then anytime you hover over anything, it'll be blue. So that's kind of the basics as far as identifying what the system is showing you. But other than that, really dive in and feel free to have fun with the system, because you can learn a lot and you can really figure out how it best utilizes you or your team.
All right, well, great. I really appreciate that. So thanks for joining us for Simply Search. Remember at the beginning of this, we said it wasn't going to be necessarily too in-depth. Yeah, we went about as in-depth as you could go with Simply Search. So, but it is a very powerful feature that a lot of our clients are seeing great results with. So remember, in 2 weeks, the GPS Tracking Academy is every other week on Fridays. In 2 weeks at 11 a.m. Central, we have the GPS Tracking Academy, the basics of GPS tracking. And then at the 1 p.m. Central on September the 4th, we have Reports, the Secret Sauce. Now that one will take a little bit of time because there's a lot behind those reports and you can get a lot out of them.
Yeah, I'll be running probably 4 or 5 reports when we do that one and really diving into that.
Oh, great. So feel free to register right down below us. If you've made this video window full screen, you might have to come out of full screen to click those links down at the bottom of the screen. Remember, if you want to see this one again, it will be uploaded shortly to youtube.com/US Fleet Tracking. It does take a little bit of time because these video files we create here are rather large. So give us a little bit before they get up. And from all of us here at US Fleet Tracking, thank you from Edwin and Brian, who are in our production team right now, and Jordan and myself. Thank you all for being here. And most importantly, thank you for being our client. We really do appreciate it. And without you, we wouldn't be able to do much. You can always, you wouldn't be able to do much. That sounds silly. Without you, we wouldn't necessarily have our company. So thank you for being our client. So you can always call our technical support from Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday from 9 to 4 p.m. That's 405-726-9900. That telephone number just disappeared on your screen. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Facebook. And that's coming up right now. We always want to hear from you. You can contact us directly through email or through our contact page on our website, or you can always contact us through social media. We'd love to hear from you and love to hear what you say. We do, after this, you'll be sent a link about a survey concerning this training session. We want to hear from you. Your feedback helps us make things better, helps us come up with better ideas to offer training sessions to you and to those that are around you. And thank you for joining us this Friday, and hopefully the weather in your areas is as beautiful as it is in our area. So get out there and let's make things great for each other. So thanks for joining us. Have a good one.